Welcome back, my friends. Well, this is a silicone gun, and I've had this absolute years, probably 25 years, and it's performed really well. They're very cheap to buy. It's the silicone that costs the money, depending on how much you want to spend. But the silicone gun is quite easy to operate. You just pull the trigger, and then that lever just grabs the bar as it drops back there, pulls it forward, and the spring brings it back. So whilst you're using the silicone gun, you're putting on very, very little pressure, or enough pressure to get the silicone bead that you want, depending on how wide you've got the cut on the nib. And a quick tip: if you're using the silicone on a regular basis, then I'll use a little bit of masking tape to cover the top, and then just put a bit of pressure on, it fills that up, and then hopefully when you undo it, the silicone is still reasonably soft. So hopefully that should work now. So whatever angle you want, that isn't perfect, but it does the jobs that I do. I don't use any tools. I just use the silicone as it comes, because when you're working up brickwork, it's very difficult. But this is the basic idea of using a silicone gun. Now it's all about hand-eye coordination, because we're looking at that. We're thinking about how wide the gap is, because the wider the gap, the more silicone will go in it. So we put the pressure on. Now we should have started moving. So basically you've just got to, now if you press the trigger too hard, bubbles out. So it's a nice steady flow, and this is just demonstration. And the quicker you are, the better it gets. Press the trigger as soon as you pull off, else it all squirts out at the end. But you can see there, a lot better, because I wasn't trying to be good. But you can see what happens. So it's always have a little bit of practice, but always have a go yourselves. I'm just going to do a little bit up the brickwork now. I'm going to cut the nib a little bit bigger, and then I'll just show you a couple of hacks that we use here to hide things. So conservatory floor's nearly done, skirting boards on, sills are on, and we've got a gap at the back there to fill. We've already done that there, and as you can see, you'd never be able to use a tool, so I haven't done a bad job there. And we're not bothered about the odd bits, because if you do it yourself, it doesn't matter what it looks like. It's when somebody else does something and you don't like what they've done. Now, Mrs. K is awfully good at dressing things before I've finished, so I've got to move them again. But as you can see, she collects the cones, paints them, and that's a doorstop. This is the back of the house, and this is where the water comes from the sink, so we've hidden that quite nicely. But we've still got the gap there that well, I didn't do too good a job there, but like I say, we just need to tidy that up. Put a silicone bead, it'll follow that line through and round by the brickwork. So I've created that out of the spare offcuts, so it hasn't cost us anything. And then as a support for the joint down the middle, we've put that on, and we use the liquid nail. We've put some posts in the corner, but as you say, that is quite ugly. So here we go, guys. There's the original floor. There's this floor that we changed to, and now we're back to wooden flooring again. Oh, Mrs. K. But like I say, that hides that a treat. And now you're saying, well, if I silicone round it, how do I get to it? Well, it's just like this. So, how do we, whoops. It's better. How do we get to our cistern at the back? We've grouted it all up. Oh no, we haven't. We siliconed it. And if you look very, very closely, only very closely, it's I created a lid. So we've got easy access. But to the trained eye, you can't see it. So we made a real good job of that. Now bathrooms, this is desperate need of a renovation. We've got all the old worldy type of things. It's clean, but in the bathroom shower, we get fed up with that mould in the joints. So I got Mrs. K to hack out all the joints. And as you can see at the top there, there's the clean, the actual white grout. But we found this absolutely ideal, and hopefully it'll work a treat. So change from white and go to grey. You can't see the mould so bad. We've already seen Mrs. K's handiwork. We bought this as a new cupboard, a cheap cupboard, and then she's used the two-coat method of two white base coats and then a grey on the top, and then you sand off to get the effect. And because these edges here were really poor, you could probably see marks that way on all of these, but when you stand back after she's used that paint effect, and I've sanded me filler down, that should hide the awful woodwork, and it's not easy to change on the stairs. And a quick tip, if you're working on the stairs and you're going to change the carpet, just take a bit off each side. Another hack. And we've done the same in the kitchen. How did we get the grout out? Well, we tried all things and couldn't do it, so we ended up using one of the kitchen knives. It got it out a treat. But you're saying, how do you do it without cutting yourself? Get the wife to do it. I say, I'm no expert, I'm a DIYer. I like to save myself a little bit of money. Now I'm just squeezing the trigger. Now I know it's going to come to an end soon, so I'm releasing the trigger. Let it go back into position, bring it back, and off we go again. Fill that hole up, and we're away. Remembering to release the trigger, and always remember your tissue, because you always have to wipe the end when you're finished. Don't you, Dave? So why not give it a go? If you've searched for how to use a silicone gun for a beginner, then you're desperate to give this a try. And yeah, you have a go and you'll think, oh, that ain't as easy as it looks. But with practice, you'll do a good enough job just to satisfy yourselves. There's the bigger gap, so we're going to leave it, we're not going to move so quickly, and we have to watch how it goes down and how it comes up. It's all, if you've got no hand-eye coordination, so we're watching it for it to come up the top, I'm watching it to go down the bottom. Fill that hole, I'm stopped, I'm still pulling the trigger, we're back onto the thin bit. And we're away. I'm not going to show you filling this because I can make a right mess of that. Take care, my friends. Happy DIYing. I hope you found that useful. How to use a silicone gun. It's all about the pressure, hand-eye coordination, and yes, I've been DIYing now since the lockdown, and we're going through the room slowly, but I'm still able to go to work and I'm still able to get some allotment time in. If you've liked this video, please consider subscribing. You can set your notifications just for DIY. And not just allotment gardening, fruit and vegetables, but if you like that as well, then why not join me? Please comment, like, and consider subscribing. Till next time, my friends, ta-ra for now.